Welcome to the I Hate Critics movie review podcast. I am professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Jeff.
Howdy.
Jeff, where do people get your art?
JeffLassiter.com is my website. All my links are there. There's a link tree that you can visit, that you can go to my Etsy shop, my TeePublic shop, which honestly, I was surprised. I put a Devil Wears Prada. So quick story. I work retail and I'm a fast walker because I'm gay. That's a thing. And part of my job is fulfilling orders, and we are timed in order to do that. So I am constantly saying in my head, by all means, move at a glacial pace. You know how that thrills me when I get stuck behind some slow old lady. Mm-hmm. It's always some slow old lady. And so I made a shirt with Meryl Streep from The Devil Wears Prada with that line on it, and went to put it on TeePublic, and they're like, your design is under review. And I've never had that before, except when I did a Star Wars design 5 years ago that's still up, my Babu Freak. And I was like, no, this isn't good. I'm not going to be able to wear this shirt to work. And then they approved it, so go order it now.
Well,
I made $11 whole on TeePublic last month, so
wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
They fucking suck. I'm sorry.
You deserve much better than that. You deserve much better than that. Let's see. Let's talk about movies, shall we? We don't really have any movie topics. I know the last couple of weeks we've had a lot of success with topics, especially the Star Wars one, but everybody's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about. Let's just jump right into the movies this week. What do you say?
Yeah, let's go.
We're talking about The Exorcism, starring Russell Crowe. It's the second of his trilogy of Exorcist movies, because he did The Pope's Exorcist last year, where he played the Pope's Exorcist. He was a priest who's an exorcist, and he'll be back into The Pope's Exorcist 2 next year. But this year he plays an actor who is down on his luck, recovering from alcoholism, and takes a role as an exorcist in a movie.
This could either be very meta.
I don't know if Russell Crowe is that self-aware. Like, that's the thing. Is like, is he that aware of what he's done here?
Look, I like Russell Crowe, and I actually really liked The Pope's Exorcist. I thought that was a lot of fun.
I love it on a very ironic level, but yeah, I did recommend and enjoy it.
He seemed to be having fun with it, but he is like, I can't imagine him having the self-awareness to make a meta movie like that.
Yeah, that's what it's baffling. But then again, what is it that would draw him to make this movie after having made that movie and knowing making another one of those movies? It's very weird.
He just seems like he's just doing he's like a less sexy Oliver Reed. Sorry if you're a Russell Crowe stan, but Oliver Reed was pretty hot even when he was Russell Crowe size. He just seems like he's just doing stuff now. Like he's bored and he wants to work.
Yeah, very true. Very true. The Exorcism, he stars as an actor who is taking on a role as an exorcist, as a priest who is going to perform an exorcism. The previous actor, we see actually get killed in the very opening scene of the movie, thus opening up the opportunity. They had to find somebody, and so they went to Russell Crowe's character to take on the role because they were desperate. He's also trying to reconnect with his daughter, played by Ryan Simpkins, who has just been suspended from school and is back home with him. So he's got her a job on the set to also work with him there. And she begins kind of a friendship relationship with one of the other lead actors, played by Chloe Bailey, who is going to play the girl who gets possessed in this movie within the movie. But of course, the premise here is that there is an actual demon called Moloch, who has actually taken over this set and did in fact kill the first guy, played by Adrian Pasdar. The opening kill guy is actually Adrian Pasdar. And now this demon is going to possess Russell Crowe's character, and it's going to be up to Ryan Simpkins and Chloe Bailey, as well as an actual priest played by David Hyde Pierce, to exorcise Russell Crowe and try and save him from this demonic possession. And it's not bad. This movie is not bad. Like, it's not great, but it's not bad. Russell Crowe, he's very committed. He takes the role very seriously. He throws himself into it. The relationship between Ryan Simpkins and Chloe Bailey, this kind of will they, won't they friendship coming to romance that happens, is very good. And I really like seeing David Hyde Pierce back on the big screen. I've always liked David Hyde Pierce, and he's such an interesting choice for this, that it does work. And a lot of this whole idea kind of works. It's not a particularly scary movie. It's certainly not a gory movie either. It's a well put together, sound kind of horror thriller, and I kind of enjoyed it.
You are the only person of all the people I've talked to who had anything good to say about this.
I wonder why. I can't imagine why anybody would like. This is not a movie that it's not great or anything, but it's like it doesn't have the elements to it that would make me hate it. Like I know it is another one of those movies that mistakes being dark, like actual physical darkness, for atmosphere, but like that's like every horror movie now. So you kind of your mileage varies on how you feel about that, I guess. Especially when you've got such good characters, and these are really good characters. I mean, Russell Crowe, like I said, deeply committed. The Ryan Simpkins and Chloe Bailey relationship is very effective. I don't know. I don't see this as a movie that would be worthy of being hated. There's also a nice little twist to the movie within a movie. I'm going to tell you the title of the movie within a movie, and I'm betting you're going to get what this movie is paying homage to very easily. The movie within the movie is called Georgetown.
Oh, yep. Okay, that's enough.
Oh, is that why people hate it?
I don't know. Maybe they just, I said I wasn't sure if I was going to see it. And two of my friends who saw it were like, well, if you have a choice, then maybe skip it. Or wait for streaming. So maybe I'll talk about it when it's on streaming.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know what people would hate this. I don't know. Not that, again, it's not a great movie. And I can understand people like saying, yeah, whatever, maybe. But like actual having like a hatred for this movie seems kind of overblown.
Oh, I don't think anybody hated it. I just think they just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it wasn't great. It wasn't good. I never heard anybody said, oh my God, I hated this movie. It wasn't like Night Swim or something.
The standard for hatred this year is Night Swim.
Oh God. And people fucking love that movie. Why?
There are people who like Night Swim?
Yes. There are people who said, I saw someone on a horror site the other day say it was in their top 10, maybe top 5. And I was like, I'm not one for gatekeeping horror, but fuck off.
Wait. Was it that Armand White guy from a few years ago? The guy who always liked everything that everybody else hated?
I don't know.
Because that's the only reason that's the only thing I can think of as to why anybody would defend Night Swim.
I mean, it must have been the director who was just lurking on, because I don't know. Just ugh.
I don't know. I do want to. I am tempted to do like a Night Swim and Deathbed, double feature, just to enjoy just bad horror for a night.
Well, you have fun with that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, but The Exorcism is not bad. It doesn't deserve the hate. It doesn't deserve people, bagging on it. It's actually pretty good.
Oh, good to know.
Let's see. Let's talk about Thelma, directed and written by Josh Margolin and starring Academy Award nominee June Squibb, along with Shaft himself, Richard Roundtree, Fred Hechinger, Parker Posey, and Clark Gregg. Tells the story of Thelma, the main character, played by June Squibb, who finds herself out $10,000 after she gets fooled by some scam artists who call her and claim that her grandson has been in an accident and that he's going to jail and that she needs to pay them $10,000 to get him taken care of that night. So she does it. She sends mails $10,000 in cash to these people, and when she finds out it's a scam, she decides she wants to get it back. But it's also about her proving to herself and to her family that she's okay living by herself. I was worried, Jeff, when I heard this premise. I thought this might be one of those movies that the joke is old. Like it's just this person is old and they're doing things, and that's like the hackiest way you can do this and make a movie starring an elderly character is just to make the joke that they're old. Instead, what Josh Margolin does here is kind of an exercise in style, which I really enjoyed. He takes these very kind of mundane things and cuts them like you're watching a Hitchcockian thriller or like Hitchcock crossed with like a modern day MTV style thriller. There's just was one fantastic scene where she and Richard Roundtree go to one of their elderly friends' homes to get a gun. And because she wants to take a gun to Van Nuys, where these people who took her money is. And they cut it so fast. And all it is her going upstairs, just slowly making her way upstairs, and her going to the bedroom, and her coming to climb on the bed and crawl up to get the gun box and get the gun box down and put the gun box back, all while Richard Roundtree is, distracting their friend who doesn't even really need to be distracted.
Yeah.
But the cuts, the fast cuts, and like the soundtrack kind of kicks up a notch too, and to underline sort of a thriller element, almost like it's Mission Impossible. He does that, I think, at least 3 times in the movie, and it worked on me every time. I was delighted by it.
Yeah, I saw this. It was the first movie I saw this weekend for the show, and I loved it, but had a slight criticism. While I loved it, and I loved the tonal shifts here and there, I thought that it could have actually worked as either a drama or a full-out action comedy. But it was both, and I did enjoy that. The more I thought about it, I was just like, yeah, this works. And June Squibb is just excellent in it. The way that she gives you that, the kind of pathos about getting older and proving to herself, not her family. That was the thing that got me. She's proving to herself that she can do this. She's not, she didn't tell her family that she was going to do this on purpose. And that's why it worked better for me, because it wasn't, I'm going to do this and I'm going to prove that I can do it. It was, I'm going to do it and I can prove to myself that I can do it. So
yeah, the character's only been alone in this house for like 2 years by herself. Her husband passed away 2 years prior to the start of this story, and that's when she started living by herself for like the first time in like 70 years, which had to be a remarkable adjustment. And I think that she brings so much of that backstory forward so effortlessly.
Yeah, I think that she has layers. I mean, she's been around for so long and in so much that I didn't expect, I expected nothing less from her. It hit me like halfway through the movie. I was like, God, who is Fred Hechinger? Why do I know him? Is it the character or what? And he's basically playing Breckin Meyer's character from Clueless. And he looks like him, and the same hair and the same kind of affect. And then I looked him up on IMDb, and I was like, oh, I've seen him in so much stuff. Okay, it was in The White Lotus, and he's so good in this, and he's just like kind of everybody in the cast. Parker Posey is one of my favorite people in the world, but he is kind of the standout to me in this movie. Just because he plays it with this, he wants to be better. It's not like he's just a stoner kid who doesn't have any ambition or anything. He wants to be better. He just doesn't know how. Yeah. And that's because his parents have never shown him how. They've just held his hand and done everything for him. And he just wants to be able to help somebody. And I think that comes across towards the end when he's talking to Thelma and he's saying, like, I just wanted to be there for you. And, you should have called me, because he wants to be useful. Yeah. And he's not useful to anybody except as kind of a, he's our son. He's our trophy to his parents. So
yeah, who are not bad people. They're not bad people.
No,
they're just probably coddled him just a little bit too much. But he's also kind of reflective of, a modern millennial culture where opportunities and, and like the types of things that adults, by the age of 24 in the past have been prepared for. We've done a lot in this culture to take that away from millennials, whether it's college opportunities, whether it's the opportunity to own a home or be able to afford to live apart from your parents. I mean, people complain about that shit constantly, but if you go look for an apartment right now and you're 24 years old trying to, hold down a position, and like what you do in retail, like it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Oh,
it's not just millennials, but I'm saying that they've come into a situation that we have built, and then we complain that they aren't able to adapt to it. And it's like, it's bizarre. This character is such a great reflection of that. But also, like, he's also a perfect parallel for what June Squibb, Thelma, is going through, and that he's kind of having the same thing, wanting to prove himself capable of doing things when people seem to treat him as if he's not capable of doing those things. And the one thing about him that I so related to was he has this thing where he needs to get a new driver's license. He's somehow, he's lost his driver's license. He needs to get a new one and he hasn't done it. Like, I am so guilty of that. Like,
yeah,
just stupid practical shit like that doesn't mean a thing to me. It just slips my mind constantly. Cause like, why do I need this? Oh yeah, I might get pulled over. I guess that would be a reason to do it. Yes. And that does make sense. And it would be bad if I got pulled over without it. At the same time, it's such a dull, mundane thing, that obligation that I've got so many other things I want to do.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's the stupid stuff like that. Yes, last year, it took me almost to the day that it was absolutely had to be done to renew my tags on my car. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. Then a bunch of stuff, happened, and it was like, oh yeah, I really need to do this. Otherwise I'm going to get screwed. But this year it was like, all right, what happened last year? Okay, I would do it all at the last minute. Same with my taxes. Like, I did my own taxes because I, can't afford to go and have somebody, charge me $200 to do my taxes and then pay on top of it.
Yeah.
So last year it was April 13th, I think I did them. This year it was March 13th. I'm like, still waited long before I should have done it, but
right. But it's that practical shit that you have to do. But you're like, with creative people, we're so much busier thinking of the things creatively that we want to do that the practical shit just kind of sneaks up on you. Like, oh yeah, I guess I have to do that now.
There's something I'm working on right now that I wanted to have done for this month that I'm not going to have done for this month. And that's because I gave myself the grace to realize that thinking about it is taking up more time than the actual doing of it. And I was like, oh, I want to have this done for Pride Month. And I've been saying this for the last 2 years, honestly. But I actually did this month, while I was doing some reading for the project, I did come up with the angle and how to use the copyrighted material as a jumping off point. And it was just listening to somebody on another podcast saying, that this material is only used for criticism and whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then the name of my project popped into my head, and the angle that I want to take, and something that we talked about on this show a couple weeks ago informed another part of that. So
good.
But it's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it to the point where I'm not doing it because I'm too busy thinking about it. So,
but I think that's indicative of most creative people. I do. I think most creative people have that way of seeing the world, where, deadlines and practicality are the least interesting thing in the world.
Exactly.
And I think that's what this character embodies. I think Fred Hechinger's character embodies that very idea. And I love that. It makes me love that character just that much more. I also loved Richard Roundtree, just getting the chance to see him one last time in a mainstream movie. I mean, he has been through so many shitty movies in his career. You know, he became like a huge star with Shaft and did all the Shaft movies and made a good, you know, a life for himself. And then he just got put into this place where he just had to take all these terrible roles. It's so great to see him get this, you know, actual good, meaty thing that he could bite into a little bit.
Yeah.
He gets to be funny, and he's so naturally funny. He's such, which again is not something you assume of Shaft, not something you assume of Richard Roundtree based off of his career. So getting to see him be so naturally funny. And also he makes such a great point too about assisted living, and that for some people that assistance is just what they need to be themselves and to be, you know, to continue to go on. And it's not about giving up or, you know, giving up and giving into what society tells you about your age. Sometimes it's just, I need a little bit of help here, but otherwise I'm still pretty good and could do the things I want to do.
Yeah, I think, you know, and that you pointed out to me that with the parallels of Thelma, you know, and her grandson's character being on the same journey, I didn't pick up on that at first, but it was like, that was, with having that happen just now, kind of gave me a whole new appreciation for it. So yeah.
This movie,
I think,
this movie's terrific. Everything about it just kind of works. And I was just really surprised because, like I said, I had misgivings about this. I really did. I hate that humor. I hate that idea that the joke is funny because of old. That is so hacky, and it's such a terrible way to do comedy. It's such a terrible way to comment on people who are as talented as June Squibb has proven to be. She's just 10 years removed from an Oscar nomination for Nebraska at 84 years old. Like, that's when she was 84 when she was nominated, and she's 93 now. She's incredible. And I'm so glad to see that the movie took her seriously and looked at her. It kind of reminded me of what they did with Sally Field in Hello, My Name is Doris, where the joke almost was, well, she's old, but it turned out to be a little bit more deeper than that and a little bit more emotionally resonant than that.
Yeah. But highly recommended.
We're talking about the movie The Bikeriders now, starring Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, and Jodie Comer, and directed by Jeff Nichols, who's a tremendous director, directed Take Shelter, among other movies, among other independent films that are incredibly popular. And I feel like I'm all alone on an island with this one, Jeff. I didn't care for this movie. I don't know what the point is. The idea here is that we've got a biker gang called the Vandals, started by Tom Hardy. Benny, played by Austin Butler, is one of the members of the gang, and he doesn't really follow any rules, and everybody kind of admires the fact that Benny doesn't follow the rules, that he's dangerous, that he's a danger to himself, he's a tragedy waiting to happen. But everybody kind of admires him for that, including Jodie Comer, who kind of looks at him and goes, well, he's a tragedy waiting to happen, but he's hot, so I want that. Tom Hardy, it's implied that he admires Benny because Benny doesn't follow any rules, and well, for much of his life, Johnny's life, he's had to follow the rules. He's got a wife, he's got 2 kids, he's a trucker, but he also wants to be this motorcycle gang leader, which he has to, be tough and prove himself on a regular basis that he is the guy who's in charge. Mike Faist plays a reporter who is kind of taking pictures and kind of cataloging all this stuff for a potential book, and that's the framing device. Him talking with Jodie Comer about these characters and what happens to them as the story unfolds about the Vandals and how they started and came to an end, or at least this era of them came to an end. It all seems rather pointless to me, Jeff. I don't quite know what any of the point of it is. I get that, for one thing, like Austin Butler at one point in the movie just sort of fucks off. He's just gone. He just leaves. He just fucks off and is gone. He's also not much of a presence when he is there. He doesn't really he doesn't really do anything other than look pretty and motivate other people to want to take away his freedom, I guess. Like, you've got Jodie Comer who wants to marry him and make an honest man out of him and get him to be, normal and work a normal job. And then you've got Tom Hardy who wants him to be the new leader of the Vandals, which is a burden. Because clearly it's a burden. He wants to get rid of it. He wants to not be the leader himself and go back to his normie everyday life. And Austin Butler's like, nah, fuck, I don't want to do that. He fucks off and leaves. What was the point of any of this?
Well, and I think I'm going to do this in Jodie Comer's accent. Because every time she was on the screen, it was so, like it was right there in your face and so distracting that I was kind of taken out of it every time she said anything.
It's comical, right? Like the whole thing is very dramatic, but like you cut to her doing these interviews with Mike Face that are essentially the storytelling device that we're using, and it is almost comical.
Okay, so I was really, I saw this and I'm like, I'm not like biker culture, I don't really care about. It doesn't do anything for me. Tom Hardy is fine. I like Jodie Comer in Killing Eve, but I haven't seen her in a lot. And
she was
Austin
great
Butler,
in The Duel with the Ridley Scott movie with Ben Affleck and Adam Driver. Matt Damon. That movie was fantastic. She was great in that.
Austin Butler does the least for the most billing.
Right.
And when I first saw I saw the trailer and I saw that Jodie Comer was first billed, and I'm like, oh, that's odd because Austin Butler, was nominated for an Academy Award last year, and his whole character, it consists of either bringing a drink up to his face or slowly raising a cigarette to his face, taking a long drag and letting it out. That's literally all he does for 90% of his role.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I was like, what the fuck? The only person who has anything really of pathos in the movie is Michael Shannon, who has the two monologues that I thought were delivered really well. And I don't know, there was something about Toby Wallace, who plays the kid, who you see him, wanting to become part of the Vandals, and then later on,
part of their
challenging Tom Hardy. I thought he was really good. I was also distracted by Damon Harriman, who I guess I never watched Justified, so I've only seen him as Charles Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Mindhunter. So I didn't really recognize him, but I kept thinking he was Donald Logue on Ozempic. Because he looks like Donald Logue on Ozempic. He just, I'm like, oh, did Donald Logue lose a bunch of weight or something? Because that's who I thought Brucey was. I thought it was Donald Logue the whole time. Which is neither here nor there.
Right.
But I was distracted by all those little things.
Yeah. I was distracted by...
There's not that much there.
There's this scene, right, where right after... So Benny wins the heart of Jodie Comer, essentially, because her boyfriend just goes, fuck this. This guy's been waiting outside our house all night, and you won't make him leave. I'm going to leave you. And I guess... And then Austin Butler goes in and fucks her, and I guess he wins. He goes to leave, and he just rides through the streets of Chicago, not stopping at any stoplights, causing accidents. Police chase him, and he gets away, seemingly, but then he runs out of gas, and the cops catch up to him, and they arrest him, and they throw him in jail, and everybody else has to pay for that. Johnny has to pay his bail. Somebody had to pay to get his motorcycle back, and because Benny doesn't have a job. He has nothing that he does that does anything for anyone. And I'm like, this guy's just a burden to people. Like, does Johnny want to fuck Benny? Is that what this is? Is he into him too? Because they're not communicating that well at all. I know he wants to be him. Like he envies his freedom, I guess. But that's not an arc. That's like an aspect. That's not like a story to be told. And also Tom Hardy just doesn't really want to tell you anything about what Johnny's motivation towards Benny is. He just everybody just gives this guy everything. Like Jodie Comer gives him a relationship and a house to live in. And Tom Hardy's giving him like, everything. He goes into a bar. He refuses to take off his jacket. He gets his ass kicked and nearly has his ankle completely broken, or his foot completely broken off. And what does Tom Hardy do? Just goes in and takes full fucking revenge, risking his own life and the life of everybody else and the freedom of everybody else just to get revenge for this guy who is just so fucking inconsiderate at all times. Why does this guy engender so much desire and loyalty other than the fact that he's good looking? Is that the point of the movie, that Austin Butler is good looking? Because I think I knew that going in.
I mean, good looking people get stuff just handed to them, so maybe that was the whole thesis of the movie.
Maybe it's got to be, right? This movie has 81% positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't understand.
I don't think it's not a bad movie. That's the thing.
It's not a bad movie, but
it's
what's
competent.
it about?
It's competent. It's got a great cast. But everything is telegraphed. Like, spoiler alert, Johnny's death, that's going to happen a half hour before it does, because he's talking about how much he hates, he hates doing this anymore. It used to be fun. And I'm just like, yeah, he's dead. He's absolutely fucking dead. Austin Butler, like I said, is nothing. Jodie Comer, she's there, and she's doing the most. She's like Edith fucking Bunker in the whole movie. And
this sounds like one of the guys at SNL who says "the Bears." Yeah. Like, did she just study George Wendt and Christopher?
That was exactly where
Farley?
My mind went. That's exactly where my mind went. I'm like, oh my God, she's doing the Bears. I took Johnny and Benny, and we went to a Bears game, and we had some wiener circled, and it was great. Zipko, he got drunk and got kicked out, and it felt like it wanted to be, I don't know, like a Tarantino movie with all these interesting characters who had all these pathos and whatever, and it turns out that nobody really does. Everybody's just kind of a caricature of a Chicagoan. Not filmed. It could not. I didn't even look, but it could not have been filmed in Chicago. This was so not Chicago.
They had to find. It's probably Toronto. They tried to find something that looks like Chicago in the in the time frame, in the late 60s, early 70s.
All they have to do is go to the South Side. It was filmed in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Cincinnati does not look anything like Chicago. I'm sorry.
Even in the 60s. Critics' consensus on this movie, fueled by a charismatic cast and the gritty authenticity of writer-director Jeff Nichols' approach, The Bikeriders offers a conventional yet impactful look at motorcycle culture. And maybe that's more where I don't have a way into this, because motorcycle culture doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. Your bike is cute. It's good looking. It's a lot of motorcycles I see, they're very good looking. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how many barrels it has or whatever the fuck. And I don't care any of that. That doesn't mean shit to me. I'm glad you enjoy it. If it makes you happy, do you? I don't care.
Yeah, I just couldn't connect to anybody. And I don't know if there's much of an age difference between Jodie Comer and Austin Butler, but he looks like he's 14 and just starting to hit puberty and everything I've seen him in so far, with the exception of Elvis. She's like, I don't even know how old she is.
She's 31.
She's only 31. I'm sorry. And I don't mean that in a bad way. She has such a maturity to her.
Yeah. He's actually older than her.
Wow.
He's 32. She's 31.
I kept thinking he looks like he's 14 and she looks like she's in mid 30s. And I don't know if it's the way they dressed her or what, but I think it actually has to do. It's probably my own personal thing, thinking that because she's done stuff that is more prestigious
Like
than he has.
There's that, but she's framed as an actual adult. Like she's the Johnny's, I guess, an adult, but nobody else in the movie's an adult. Like Johnny has a real job and has like real human responsibilities. You know, Jodie's character, she's got a house and apparently a pretty good job that pays for her to live, you know, by herself in this house and take care of Benny. So I guess she must be doing pretty well. So I guess the framing of her as an adult and also like the person who gets to stand aside from all the nonsense that the Vandals get into, the needless violence that they create around them. She appears more mature than everybody else. But if the character of Benny is also 32 years old in the movie and he has no job and all he does is just sponge off of anybody who will help him and ride his motorcycle around and get in trouble, like, why does anybody want to be around this guy? He's just... I
don't know, but when you describe it like that, it's a shock that I'm not more attracted to him. No, she just comes off as a mature adult who doesn't want any part of this. And then, you know, oh, he's cute, so let me throw my entire life away. And that's another thing that I didn't really, that got me, that I just kind of took me out of it. Her only backstory is that she has a husband who just leaves her, and you know, like,
boyfriend.
She doesn't, well, boyfriend, but she says later, she said, my marriages.
Oh yeah, did she? Oh,
yeah, she said, oh, you know, like my marriages, and I was like, oh, so she was married to that guy apparently, and he just up and left, or she was married before. But for the narrator of this movie, which essentially is what she is. There's not enough. I don't know enough about her to care.
Yeah, there's really not much of anything to know about. I don't even know what her job that's good enough to get her a house that she can live in by herself and take care of Betty is. I don't know what that job is.
Yeah. You know, and the fact that it always seems like there should be a kid running around. I don't know why that is, but I feel like that's the first thing he would have done, is knocked her up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought that too. But they don't ever mention them having children, do they?
No. But I always felt like
she does eventually tame him. She does tame him. She housebreaks him after Johnny's death. But other than that, is that the thing? Like, she beat Johnny? Is that what was this always a competition between the two of them, and that she won?
Well, the way she smiles at the end kind of makes you think that.
Yeah. That's bizarre.
And I don't, but he smiles too, and I don't know, you know, does he mean to smile, or is he just so, well, I might as well just do what I'm doing?
I mean, but we don't even know that this isn't what he wants. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess we kind of get a sense that when he just fucks off for part of the movie, then maybe that's not what he wants. But we don't know anything about him. He has so little dialogue and so little presence. He's the symbol of freedom, is what we're told. It's just he's the symbol of freedom. And what does the stupid poster say? The poster says, what is it here? Freedom is for the fearless.
Yeah.
Sure. What the fuck does that mean?
Should be freedom is for the shiftless.
Yeah. He has no responsibilities. He has no job. He has nothing until the end, when he's assigned, you know, a wife and a job, and Johnny's dead and unable to take that from him, I guess. I don't know. That's not that was Johnny. Johnny's never portrayed as a bad guy, so we don't. But then what did Johnny ever want? What did he ever want?
Yeah.
Other than to, I guess, be like Benny. He wanted to be like Benny. He wanted to be free, but he couldn't. Maybe. Who knows?
I do think, like, it seemed kind of pointless.
We've gone on a lot about what's wrong with this movie. I mean, it is a good looking movie. I mean, Jeff Nichols is a very good director. The cinematography is really great. Everybody looks gorgeous. Everything about it is, not merely competent, but quite good. But I don't know what the point of this story is. What makes you want to tell a story about these characters? And what is the story?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's based on a book of photography, and it seems like it. It seems like images where they tried to just make a story out of the images.
Yeah.
And I know that's what a movie is, but you know what I'm saying? There's without any narrative, it kind of just, it doesn't do it for me.
No, it didn't do anything for me. And I don't recommend it. And somehow we're in the minority on that. Somehow everybody else has found something in this that we simply have not.
Yeah, it seems like the person who had the most backstory and the most kind of explanation of what their motivations were the kid who kills Johnny.
Yeah, he seems he's got the most propellant story throughout.
Yeah.
And he is not a main character. Well, so that's the Bikeriders. I don't know. I feel weird. Like I don't ever set out to be that guy who doesn't like the thing that everybody else likes and then likes the thing that everybody else hates. Like this week, I'm recommending the Exorcism and I don't like the Bikeriders. I'm not Armand White. I don't do this. It just happened this week. This one just feels weird. I feel like there should be something more, like maybe there's like a key that should unlock the Bikeriders for me and make it make sense. Jeff is being Austin Butler. He's just fucking off partway into the show. He's just gonna fuck off.
Hello?
Okay, are you there?
I apparently my headphones were hooked up to my phone, which got a phone call and took it into Spotify, which whatever song was playing in my head and I couldn't respond to you was not the song that was playing on Spotify. So I just had to shut my Bluetooth off completely on there. So
that was weird. I was just joking that you just pulled an Austin Butler and just fucked off out of the show.
Yeah, I'll be back in, a year. Once I hear about Bob, getting shot by the kid.
All right, let's talk Pride Month classics. We're talking about the legendary John Waters and Female Trouble. And Jeff, you want to take us through the plot of Female Trouble?
The plot, such as it is. Dawn Davenport, played by Divine, she's a juvenile delinquent. She wants cha-cha heels for Christmas, and she doesn't get them, so she throws her mother under the Christmas tree and huffs off in her pajamas and a leather jacket, where she's picked up by Divine, playing a dual role here, who takes her into a junk dump area in the forest, fucks her, then pulls his pants down and actually fucks her, impregnates her, and he fucks off like Austin Butler in the Bikeriders. Then cut to a few years later, Dawn Davenport is a mother to a petulant little brat who she beats with a car antenna and locks her in a small room with her friends. Her and her friends lock this girl in a small room. And all she wants is to be famous. It's all she wants in her entire life. And she soon meets the couple that is going to make her famous, played by David Lochary and I can't think of her name now. I should have written this down, but I did not, of course. They start taking photos of her being basically a layabout thief who marries the next door neighbor, much to the chagrin of his aunt, played by the incomparable, and I say this, I love this woman so much, Edith Massey, who was just amazing. She plays the neighbor who hates Dawn Davenport and wants to make her nephew gay. And his name is Gator, by the way, and her name is Aunt Ida. And she decides that he's gay. He says no. He meets the next door neighbor, Dawn Davenport. They allegedly fall in love, have lots of kind of graphic sex, and then Don and the Dashers, Donald and Donna Dasher, they make her famous, and she becomes this performance artist who is all about shooting up liquid eyeliner. And in the climax of the film, all the people that comes to see her get murdered by Dawn because that's going to make her even more famous. And she's led away to prison and ultimately the electric chair, where it is the culmination of everything she's ever wanted. And when they put the juice into her, she transcends to what she's always wanted to be.
And she becomes the Shocker. She goes into the
oh my God, that would be amazing.
This movie is kind of when I it's on the Criterion Collection, and I have the Criterion DVD of this. When I watched it, I was like, this was a few years ago when I first watched it. I was talking about how this sort of predicted reality TV in so many different ways, like well before even the concept existed. These people who are just so obsessed with fame that they'll do anything to get famous. It's like the Real Housewives gone to the most extreme idea of that. And that's what makes this movie so incredibly fascinating, is that John Waters could see into the future and see what this idea of not just 15 minutes of fame, but like a desire for a lifetime of fame would be like. And, you know, when you walk out into the fringes of TikTok, or you walk out in the fringes of, like, especially TikTok Live, good God, you tend to see what John Waters was actually talking about, which is just people like, there's a woman who went viral the other day where she was showing off her fingernails, this elaborately painted fingernails, but it was all a ruse just to get you to look at her vagina so that could go viral. Like, that's a thing that happened.
Lots of women on Twitter or X, they're like, do you like my hair? And it's just their hair falling over their boobs. Yeah, that's what you really want people to look at. So
that's what this is. This is like John Waters looking out under the sea of this crass future and pulling out a story that like, this is what you're doing to yourselves. Like, this is the ridiculous. This is so over the top and ludicrous and disgusting. This is kind of what I'm kind of actually looking forward to the future.
This is my favorite John Waters movie. For a reason. Partially because of that. Yeah. If you think about it, Dawn Davenport, DD, Kim Kardashian, KK.
I mean, kind of doing a lot of crime, like honestly. Like, if you know, you know, and how she became famous. I mean, just saying.
I can't. This movie is hard for me to describe, and when I suggested it after I was watching it again, I'm like, you know what? I can't have any distance from this to tell you if there's anything wrong with it. I just think it's so funny. It goes so quickly. There's no fat on it. Even the extended version, which is 97 minutes, that is on the Criterion Collection, where they restored some footage that was lost from when it was released. It's just like, it goes so quickly. You don't have time to get bored or question anything. And there's quite a bit to question, like, why is Mink still playing a 14-year-old who joins up with the Hare Krishnas and
stages elaborate car crashes in her home, in her living room for some reason.
Right. It is the first time I ever heard the phrase. And so Dawn and Gator are having sex, and he's completely naked. Dawn is, of course, fully dressed because she's divine. And he goes, why don't you come over here and suck daddy's penis? And then it's like a full screen close up of his flaccid penis. And she says the line that was the first time I ever heard it: I wouldn't suck your dick if I was suffocating and there was oxygen in your balls. I think I saw this in college, and that's when I said that to a couple of people, and they didn't know what I was talking about. They just thought I was even weirder than I was. So this is just, oh God, everything. I mean,
this movie is insanely watchable. Like, every set piece feels like an extension of the previous one, taking it to an even more absurd level. And it's that building absurdity throughout and never letting the air out of the balloon. Just like, how much more absurdity can we push in here before everything explodes?
Exactly. I love, like, in the very beginning of the movie, she comes into class late, she sits down and she pulls out a meatball sandwich and starts eating it in class. And that's kind of like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And that's how she gets here. Mr. Don Davenport is eating a meatball sandwich. I just fucking love that.
It's just that, yeah, it's like little tiny transgressions building into ever larger transgressions throughout. That's kind of like something that John Waters just truly loves, is just like, this is, people want to pretend that Benny and the Bikeriders was some kind of symbol of freedom. You want a symbol of fucking freedom? How about Don Davenport? That's a symbol of goddamn freedom for you. Don Davenport doing whatever the fuck she wants, and and some of it is just, this should not be done.
Oh, when Aunt Ida comes and throws acid in her face, and they treat it like, oh my God, you're the most beautiful woman in the world, and she's got these scars with just makeup caked on top of them, and it's just like, it looks like the worst aesthetics ever, because it really is. And oh my God, you're so beautiful. I mean, I am beautiful, aren't I? Some trivia for this movie. Mm-hmm. Did you know that Rex Reed hated this movie?
Of course he did. He's a lot of things I could say.
They used his line, where do these people come from? Where do they go when the sun goes down? Isn't there a law or something? They use that on the poster. And on the DVD. And it's dedicated to Charles Tex Watson.
Oh God.
A Manson family member. And you'll see, I guess John Waters went to visit Tex Watson in prison, and Watson gave him a toy wooden helicopter, which, if you're watching the credits, he features it in the credits.
Oh wow.
So yeah, this movie is so transgressive in almost every single way.
I was just, you were talking about Edith Massey before, and when I wrote my review of this, which was like 4 years ago when it first came to the Criterion Collection, I was like, Edith Massey is a nightmare come to life. She truly is a nightmare come to life.
Yeah, I think that her character, when she says, the world of the heterosexual is a sad and boring life, it's so she just, like, she delivers it like she really fucking means it, and that's what she does. She's not in any way an actress, a trained professional or anything.
Yes, that's another
such screen presence.
That's another thing about it, though, is that as bizarre as these things are, as absurd as what they're doing are, all of these people feel authentic. Like, they feel like, because they feel like people you desperately want to avoid.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. Like, they're playing these characters in such a way that, as absurd as their actions are, they still feel a little too real.
Well, when Divine gives birth on the sofa and pulls the baby out, covered in blood, of course, and then bites the umbilical cord off. It was a condom full of meat. And every time I see that part, I'm just so grossed out, but I can't look away. She's just so. I refer to Divine as she, even though he went by he, because Divine, the drag, whatever.
Yeah.
But every time that Divine does that she just out absurds herself every time.
Yeah.
When she jumped in the river and crossed the river, there was a real sense that she was going to get, like, swept away because it was really, there was nothing holding her, no rope around her or anything like that. She just, just did it.
Just did it.
Hit his mark and didn't lose his wig. That was all that was important. So,
yeah. I feel like if today you went onto TikTok, you could find a taffy. You could find. I feel like truly.
She's just Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's Taffy Davenport grew up to be Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Wow, that's canon now. That is canon. Oh, this is Trump's America. Female trouble. It's Trump's America.
I fully believe that Don Davenport would have voted for Trump because he's a celebrity.
I don't know who that other guy is.
I don't think that other is a real person. I think he was created by artificial intelligence. Now give me my cha-cha heels and make them gold with the American flag on them.
Oh, if Divine were alive today to play Donald Trump. Oh God, it's too perfect.
Oh my God, that would have been hilarious.
Directed by John Waters.
Oh, John Waters, mega.
That's fantastic. Gosh, there's a universe where that's real, and I want to be there.
Well, if you believe in the multiverse, that's actually that's something that's going on right now.
All right, we've got about 5 minutes. You want to do a little flick chart?
Yeah.
All right. Dark City or One Night in Miami?
It's been a long time since I've seen Dark City, but I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I'm going Dark City as well. One Night in Miami is very good, though. Very good movie. Critters 2 or The Trial of the Chicago 7?
Is the Trial of Chicago 7 is that a miniseries or is that the?
It was a Netflix movie. It was nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, that's right. That's right. With Sacha Baron Cohen. I really liked that. I
should say Critters 2, the main course.
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna say the Chicago 7, but Critters 2 has a special place in my heart because it's so fucking weird.
I want to vote for Critters 2 so bad.
We could,
because like I hate Aaron Sorkin so much now.
Well, let's vote for Critters 2. I say Critters 2.
Fuck yes, let's go with Critters 2. Aaron Sorkin sucks, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows. I know he's a liberal. He's the worst kind of liberal. Yeah, he's awful. Just listen to Dave Anthony's West Wing podcast, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Night Shift with Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler, or Major League 3 Back to the Minors?
Night Shift. Jesus Christ.
Let's see. That's a TV show. How's that here? Terminator Genesis or Vice Versa with Judge Reinhold?
I can't believe I'm saying this. Terminator Genesis.
Really?
I had a really horrible experience with Vice Versa, and if I ever see it again, I probably will have PTSD. So
that's
all I'm going to say about it.
Did you turn into your dad for a day?
God, no. But yeah, it was just it was terrible. So
yeah, okay. Wolf Creek or The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo 2009, the original?
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Definitely. Wolf Creek fucking sucks. 2046 or Office Christmas Party?
I didn't see 2046.
I did. It's amazing. It doesn't compare to the other one. The Last Detail with Jack Nicholson or The Muppet Movie 1979?
The Muppet Movie.
Same. Talk Radio or The Master of the Disguise?
Talk Radio.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Master of Disguise is so bad that you would vote for Talk Radio.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
It's not even like so bad it's good.
It's just
bad.
awful. It's just awful. Although I do, one of my favorite pieces of trivia is that they that they were making that movie about the time of September 11th, and they did like a prayer for the people who died on September 11th on the same day that they were finishing shooting the turtle scene where Dana Carvey's dressed in as a giant turtle, a turtle man. And so he's having to stand there in this ridiculous turtle man costume while they're doing a prayer for the people who died on September 11th, like 3 days previously.
Oh my God.
That
is the best part of that movie.
That's the only good thing about that. Not good thing, but like only funny part of that movie.
Oh
all right. Das Boot or Zathura?
Did I see Zathura?
The video, it's basically just a space version of Jumanji. Kristen Stewart's in it.
Yeah, I did not see that.
Das Boot.
Das Boot.
The Sting or Seven?
7.
Yeah, 7. Sting is overrated.
Just watched that the other night.
Coming to America 2 or A Civil Action starring John Travolta?
Fishing with Gandhi.
Yeah, indeed. Both these movies fucking suck. Saltburn or A Face in the Crowd? That's a fucking good movie too. Damn, that's hard.
I have not seen that movie.
Really? Oh, it's so good. We'll give it to Saltburn just for the laughs.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We're out of time. Jeff, thank you.
Have a good night.
Next week, we're talking about the A Quiet Place movies.